You know, in a world where human worth is often measured by skin color, social status, or wealth, can a tiny spark truly break through the formidable walls of prejudice? Imagine a 17-year-old black girl living in the shadow of a lavish mansion, scorned simply for her race and humble origins. But deep within her soul, a fervent desire for knowledge and a burning need to prove herself blazed brightly. This isn't just a story about talent overcoming adversity. It's a journey to rediscover human values, a place where dreams know no bounds and kindness can truly change the world. Our story begins in that humble room, where the dawn light, soft and hesitant, was just peeking through thin curtains, casting pale gold streaks across a small, simple room. Yet it was impeccably neat, almost surprisingly so. This was a modest corner in the staff quarters of the sprawling Harding estate, where the sounds of birdsong still felt miles away from the outside world's clamor. Nia, a black girl at about 17, sat by the window, her eyes following the delicate rays of light, her hand gently tracing the cover of an advanced physics textbook. The complex equations and theories seemed to dance in her mind, a brilliant reflection of her intelligence and a burning thirst for knowledge that defied all her circumstances. Her mother, Mrs. Albright, the Hardings' longtime housekeeper, was carefully ironing the creases out of her employer's expensive suit. Each press of the iron, each soft sigh, revealed her worries, the burdens of life, and the quiet dreams she held for her precious daughter. She looked at Nia, her gaze a mix of pride and sorrow. Her daughter was intelligent, talented, yet life seemed to have set invisible boundaries for her. Nia looked up, her eyes lost in the vast, verdant gardens of the Harding estate, where tall walls seemed to separate her from another world. Her eyes held dreams, unspoken questions about the universe, about distant stars she could only touch through the pages of her books. Mrs. Albright sighed, placing a callous yet warm hand on her daughter's shoulder. Her voice was low and sad, but full of love. "Nia, my dear, don't let those big dreams make you forget the tough reality we live in. You need to rest. Tomorrow you have to go help Master Leo with his studies again." Nia turned, her smile as fresh as the morning sun. "I'm fine, Mom. I like helping Leo. He's very smart. It's just that the old way of learning doesn't suit him." She said that, but deep down, she knew she was stretching the truth. Nia didn't just like helping Leo. She felt a strained connection to that lonely boy. She saw a part of herself in him, a soul lost amidst expectations, even if they existed in two completely different worlds. Her mother's worry, the invisible pressure of social status, all weighed heavily. But Nia remained resilient, her gaze unwavering, as if she were accustomed to overcoming such invisible barriers every single day. The Harding family, especially Mr. Harding, was often absent, leaving a huge void in the mansion and in young Leo's heart. The Harding mansion was vast, opulent, yet always eerily empty. The echo of footsteps seemed to be swallowed by the silence of marble walls and luxurious furnishings. Leo, the only son of billionaire Mr. Harding, often sat hunched in the colossal library, a world of knowledge, yet the place where he felt most alone. He struggled to solve a complex physics problem. The numbers, the formulas, danced his head like blurry, meaningless images. His eyes were blank, lifeless, reflecting a deep sense of helplessness. On his desk, thick textbooks were piled like insurmountable mountains, and a letter from school detailing his declining grades lay forlorn like an invisible verdict. Leo threw his pencil onto the desk, the small sound echoing in the massive room. He let out a long, drawn-out sigh, heavy with pressure and frustration. He looked out the window, his gaze inadvertently catching a glimpse of a corner of the garden where Nia often sat reading under an ancient tree. He thought to himself, his voice echoing in the library's silence, "Dad will be so disappointed if he finds out I failed this." The fear of disappointing his absent billionaire father, who always set colossal expectations, weighed heavily on the young boy. Loneliness, pressure, and helplessness seemed to be Leo's only companions in this lavish mansion. He needed help, not just with knowledge, but a spark, a source of inspiration to escape the shadow of expectation and fear. He never imagined that the person who would bring that spark would be the young housemaid he so often saw around the estate. One gloomy afternoon, the gentle friction of tires on the cobblestone driveway broke the usual silence of the Harding mansion. A gleaming black Rolls-Royce, a symbol of power and wealth, pulled up to the main gate. Mr. Harding, a middle-aged man with a stern face etched with fatigue from a long business trip, stepped out of the car. His eyes were sharp, sweeping across the garden as if surveying his territory, not his home. He had returned unannounced, bringing with him a wave of tension that enveloped the entire mansion. Mr. Harding entered the house without a word, his demeanor tired but decisive. Mrs. Albright, who was cleaning in the main hall, startled at her employer's sudden appearance. She quickly bowed, her voice trembling slightly. "Mr. Harding, when did you arrive? I'll call Leo down right away." Mr. Harding's gaze swept over Mrs. Albright, a look full of suspicion, as if he were probing for something being hidden. He replied coldly, his voice firm, "No need. I want to see what Leo is doing myself. He seems to be having trouble at school, doesn't he?" His tone wasn't a question of concern, but an accusation, an implicit confirmation of his son's failures. The entire mansion seemed to hold its breath at the unexpected and cold presence of its owner. The atmosphere suddenly became intensely tense, like a taut string about to snap. Mrs. Albright could only bow her head, her heart heavy. Mr. Harding quietly walked toward the library. His footsteps seemed to make no sound on the precious hardwood floor. Through the slightly ajar door, an unexpected scene caught his eye, freezing him in place as if he'd turned to stone. This wasn't a typical tutoring session. Nia stood at a whiteboard, not scribbling dry physics formulas, but drawing intricate diagrams of star systems, using colors and images to explain relativity. Every line, every color, was vibrant and compelling. Leo was no longer the lost, lifeless boy. He was sitting, listening intently, his face radiant, his eyes sparkling with a comprehension and excitement Mr. Harding had never witnessed in his son. Nia used her hands to simulate planetary orbits, her voice full of passion and enthusiasm, as if she were telling a fairy tale about the universe. Mr. Harding stood frozen in the doorway, his body rigid like a stone statue. His gaze shifted from profound surprise to annoyance, then to burning anger. Contempt surged within him. A mere housemaid, a black girl from a humble background, daring to teach his son with such childish, silly methods? Was this how his son was learning? A rage flared within him, not just because of the unsuitability of the lesson, but because of the intimacy, the connection he felt between Nia and Leo, something he had never been able to build with his own son. He took a deep breath, the heavy sound echoing in the silent room, signaling an impending storm. Mr. Harding kicked the door open, the jarring sound cutting through the lesson. Nia and Leo jumped, turning around, their eyes wide with shock. The air in the room thickened, suffocatingly tense. Mr. Harding advanced, his gaze sharp as a blade, sweeping over Nia, then resting on the colorful drawings on the whiteboard, and finally on Leo. His voice was cold, full of disdain. "What is going on here? Is this how you're studying, Leo? And you, what do you think you're doing?" He pointed directly at Nia, his attitude full of contempt. Leo quickly stood up, trying to explain, his voice full of anxiety. "Dad, Nia is helping me. I've understood so much more thanks to her methods." His progress, his newfound joy in learning, was now at risk of being destroyed by his father's prejudice. Nia, though startled, maintained an astonishing calmness and confidence. She looked Mr. Harding directly in the eye, her voice soft but unwavering. "Mr. Harding, I'm helping Leo understand astrophysics better. This visual approach helps him visualize and retain knowledge more deeply." She didn't bow her head, she didn't show fear, but held her ground, like a resilient small lamp in a storm. But Nia's explanation only fueled the fire. Mr. Harding snarled, his eyes burning with anger. "An approach? Who do you think you are, using these ridiculous tricks to teach my son? Leo needs a professional tutor, someone with degrees, with experience, not a housemaid's child with fanciful ideas." His words were like sharp arrows, piercing Nia's heart. She felt pain, but at the same time, a resilient fire ignited within her. Leo stood there, helpless, watch his father humiliate the only friend who brought light into his life. Pain, anger, and helplessness filled the room. Mr. Harding roared, ordering Nia to stop immediately. His voice was authoritative, without an ounce of leniency. "Stop. I don't want to see you near my son ever again." But Nia, with surprising tenacity, politely but firmly refused. She explained, in a soft yet compelling voice, that Leo was making progress, that he had begun to find joy in learning. She didn't want all of Leo's efforts to be destroyed by prejudice. Mr. Harding's eyes narrowed. He appraised Nia from head to toe, then a cruel thought flashed through his mind. He wanted Nia to recognize her limits, to understand that she didn't belong in this world. "All right," Mr. Harding said, his tone sharp as a knife. "If you're so confident, prove it. I'll give you an opportunity and a challenge. If Leo doesn't get an A in his upcoming physics exam, you will never be allowed near my son again, and your mother will have to find another job. Do you understand?" His words weren't just aimed at Nia, but directly threatened her mother's livelihood, a cruelty beyond words. Nia didn't flinch. Her eyes met Mr. Harding's directly, devoid of fear, only burning determination. She knew this wasn't just a challenge for Leo. It was a battle for herself, for her worth, for everything she believed in. "I accept, Mr. Harding," Nia said, her voice clear in the tense air. "I believe in my methods, and I believe in Leo." Mrs. Albright, standing in the doorway, had heard the entire conversation. Her heart constricted, extreme worry etched on her face. She rushed forward, wanting to stop Nia. "Nia, you don't have to." But Nia gently cut her mother off, offering a reassuring smile that held extraordinary strength. "I'll do it, Mom." She understood that this was her only chance, her only path to escape a predetermined fate. Nia's resilience, her refusal to give up, was most clearly demonstrated in this moment, facing Mr. Harding's extreme doubt and contempt. In the days that followed, the Harding mansion witnessed an unprecedented sight. Nia and Leo studied diligently, not just in the library, but everywhere. Nia didn't just teach dry physics facts. She inspired. She sowed the seeds of self-confidence and a passion for discovery in Leo's heart. She told stories of great scientists, of intellectual adventures, of world-changing discoveries. Under Nia's narration, physics was no longer senseless numbers and formulas, but an exciting adventure, a magical journey through the cosmos. Leo, once a helpless boy living under pressure and fear, suddenly became full of energy and passion. He asked questions, he debated, his eyes sparkling with curiosity. They learned together in various places throughout the mansion, sometimes in the lush garden, sometimes in Leo's dusty little laboratory, where old equipment suddenly came alive under Nia's touch. Some nights, they even went up to the rooftop, stargazing. Nia used constellations to illustrate physical laws, turning the night sky into a giant classroom. They laughed, pondered, and solved complex problems together. Nia spoke, her voice filled with enthusiasm, as if opening a door to a new world for Leo. "Knowledge isn't just about numbers, Leo. It's how we understand this vast universe, our place in it, the very meaning of existence." Leo, with grateful eyes, confided in Nia, his words coming from the depths of his heart. "Dad always wanted me to succeed, but he never asked what I wanted. He only looked at the grades. But Nia, you make me feel like I can do anything. You gave me faith in myself." Their friendship wasn't just that of teacher and student, but a deep empathy between two lonely souls who found each other in a vast world. Nia and Leo had built a world of their own, where joy and knowledge were shared with the utmost sincerity. Mr. Harding, initially still profoundly skeptical, could not overlook Leo's changes. He began to secretly observe Nia and Leo, like a hunter tracking his prey. He noticed Leo coming home earlier, no longer immersing himself in idle video games. Instead, he often engaged in lively scientific discussions with Nia, his voice full in excitement Mr. Harding had never heard from his son before. He also noticed Leo was brighter, more active, a smile appearing more frequently on a face that had grown accustomed to melancholy. Mr. Harding watched through the library window, sometimes eavesdropping from a distance, trying to decipher what was happening. Once, he accidentally overheard Nia telling Leo about a great challenge in her own life, about the difficulties and prejudices she faced, and how she overcame them with perseverance. with faith in herself. Nia's voice held no complaint, only strength. He thought to himself, a tiny, unexpected spark igniting within him. A sense of surprise beginning to surface. The boy has never talked so much about his studies. He's never seemed so happy. He began to see clear, positive changes in his son. Changes that neither money nor the most renowned tutors could bring. A hint of curiosity about Nia began to stir within him. No longer the initial contempt, but an inexplicable wonder. Who would have thought that a young housemaid could do what he, with all his wealth and power, had failed at so miserably? He still wasn't entirely convinced, but a seed of doubt about his own prejudices had been sown in his heart. Leo's exam day finally arrived, casting a tense atmosphere over the entire Harding mansion. The whole house seemed to hold its breath in anticipation. Mrs. Albright, with a heavy heart, worried ceaselessly for Nia. She knew that not only Leo's future, but her own job, and especially her daughter's honor, were riding on this test. She only hoped her daughter wouldn't suffer any more harm. Mr. Harding maintained his usual cold demeanor, but inside, a restless anxiety, an invisible worry, gnawed at him. He tried to focus on his work and study, but his eyes constantly darted to clock. Every passing second seemed to stretch on endlessly. He had been confident in his judgment, but now he wasn't so sure. The surprise of seeing Leo change, and the stories of Nia's resilience he had inadvertently overheard, had sown a seed of doubt in his own prejudices. Leo stepped out of the house, his shoulders straighter, his eyes much more determined than before. Nia and Mrs. Albright waited, each with their own thoughts. Mrs. Albright gently placed a hand on Nia's shoulder, her voice full of love and pride. "Nia, you did your best. No matter the result, I'm proud of you. My daughter has done what no one thought she could." Nia smiled, her smile showing both tiredness and hope. Meanwhile, Mr. Harding sat in his study, trying to hide his anxiety behind a cold exterior. He didn't want to admit he was waiting for the results of a housemaid's child, but the truth was, he couldn't push the thought away. All three, in three different spaces, shared one emotion: worry, hope, and anticipation. A few days later, Leo's results letter arrived. The entire mansion seemed to hold its breath. Mr. Harding, with a stern face that belied extreme tension, held a thick envelope in his hand. The weight in his hand wasn't just a paper. It was a heavy burden of expectations and prejudice. In the living room, Leo and Nia stood side by side, nervous, their eyes following his every move. Both had given their all, and now it was time to face the truth. Mr. Harding slowly opened the envelope. His eyes scanned the paper, first with profound disbelief at what he was seeing. Then an unmistakable wave of emotion welled up, visibly softening his stern face. Leo had scored an A+. Not only that, there was a special commendation for the teacher for his remarkable progress and the innovative learning methods he had applied. The commendation also emphasized that this was a result of finding an inspiring companion. Mr. Harding couldn't believe his eyes. He looked up at Nia, then at Leo, his gaze resting on Nia, filled with remorse and respect. Mr. Harding's voice trembled, choked with emotion, a feeling Leo had never seen his father. "Leo, you did it. You got an A+. Leo burst into overwhelming joy, embracing Nia naturally, as if they were siblings. "Nia, we did it." Nia was equally happy, tears welling in her eyes. Mr. Harding, with deeply moved eyes, looked directly at Nia, his voice carrying profound sincerity and regret. "Nia, I was wrong. I underestimated you. You didn't just help Leo get a good grade. You restored joy, confidence, and innocence to my son. This girl saved something that I couldn't buy with all my money." He paused, his gaze distant, his voice low and sad, revealing a small secret, an old scar in his soul. "I was once a boy like Leo, lost and under pressure. My father only saw results, only cared about school. I had forgotten that feeling of loneliness, the feeling of a child judged solely by numbers. That's why I froze when I saw you and Leo so close, as if I was seeing a younger version of myself. But now, with you by his side," Mr. Harding sighed, a sigh of remorse and understanding. "You have done what I, with all my wealth, couldn't do for my son. You gave him a friend, a guide, someone who helped him find himself. Admiration, respect, and an unusual warmth spread throughout the room, bringing profound satisfaction to all. From skepticism, Mr. Harding had shifted surprise, then to deep respect and regret. Nia felt relieved and happy. Leo was filled with joy and confidence. A completely different boy, Mr. Harding, with a humility he had never shown before, stood up. He looked directly at Nia and her mother, his words coming from the bottom of his heart. Not just a simple apology, but a genuine amends, a real opportunity for Nia to unleash her talent. Nia, Mr. Harding said, his voice clear and weighted, I apologize for what I said and thought about you. You are more than a housemaid. You are a born teacher, a true inspirer, someone with the ability to see and awaken potential in every person. He paused and continued, his offer like a door opening to a bright future. I want to offer you a full scholarship to any university you desire, anywhere in the world. And not only that, I'd also like to offer you a position in my charitable foundation, so you could develop your innovative educational methods and help other children, just like you help Leo. Mrs. Albright stood there, stunned, tears streaming down her face. She couldn't believe what she was hearing. Mr. Harding, she gasped, her voice choked with overwhelming emotion. Nia, with radiant eyes, looked at Mr. Harding. She understood that this was not just an opportunity for herself, but a testament to what she believed in. Thank you very much, Mr. Harding, Nia said, her voice full of gratitude and maturity. But the most important thing I've gained from you isn't a scholarship or a position. It's that you've seen the true value of every person, no matter where they come from, no matter their skin color or background. That is the most precious lesson. Nia's words were a profound reminder, deeply etched into Mr. Harding's soul. A person's value isn't in their origin or wealth, but in their intelligence, kindness, and ability to inspire. True wealth isn't money, but connection, understanding, and compassion. Mr. Harding had learned a costly lesson about prejudice and the importance of listening to and trusting his children. Nia, the scorned black girl, had never given up. She had turned the tables with her talent and kindness, not only changing her own life, but also transforming a wealthy family, bringing hope and positive change to all. Several months later, a brighter scene unfolded. Nia was packing for her journey to her dream university. Her small room was now more than just a dwelling. It was a starting point for a great adventure. Mrs. Albright stood beside her daughter, her face radiant, filled with pride. Now, she could smile with serenity, no longer burdened by constant worries. Leo and Mr. Harding saw Nia off with grateful eyes and genuine affection. Leo had found his path, not only excelling in his studies, but also developing his own passions, scientific projects he and Nia had nurtured together. Mr. Harding was no longer the cold, distant man. He had learned to express affection for his son, to listen and understand. Their relationship had healed, becoming warmer and closer than ever before. Leo looked at Nia, his voice filled with emotion and a touch of regret. Nia, thank you for everything. I'll miss you in our study sessions so much. Nia smiled, her eyes sparkling with hope. Always be yourself, Leo. You are very special. Use your talent and kindness to create amazing things. Mr. Harding placed a hand on Nia's shoulder, his eyes warm, full of trust. Nia, go and change the world. I will always support you, and I know you will achieve great things. Joy, hope, and warmth spread through space, like a refreshing breeze blowing through souls that had once been hurt. The story concluded beautifully, not just for Nia, but for all the characters, opening up a bright future where human value is recognized not by origin, but by what they contribute with their hearts and minds. It's the story of a girl who used her talent and kindness to overturn all prejudice and change the lives of those around her forever. And so Nia, the girl with radiant eyes and a brave heart, stepped beyond the invisible boundaries of prejudice, not just to pursue her own dreams, but to light the way for others. She proved that talent is not bound by skin color or background, and kindness can move the hardest of hearts. Mr. Harding, the powerful but cold man, rediscovered the warmth, the understanding of fatherly love he had long thought lost. Leo, the lonely boy, was now confident, full of the joy of life and discovery. Every life, no matter its beginning, is a treasure, holding infinite potential, just waiting to be unearthed. Nia's story isn't just a journey of overcoming fate. It's a powerful reminder to us all. A person's true value isn't in what they possess, but in what they contribute with their intellect, resilience, and compassion. Sometimes, invisible prejudices are the greatest barriers. But when we dare believe in ourselves, dare to live by good values, we can break through any wall, changing not only our own lives, but the world around us. Each of us has the power to make a difference, to turn the impossible into possible, and to sow seeds of hope in the darkest places. Do you believe in the power of kindness and true talent? How did Nia manage to change her own life and the entire Harding family? Have you ever witnessed similar stories where someone seemingly disadvantaged achieved something miraculous? Please share your thoughts on this story in the comments below. Every one of your insights is a valuable source of motivation for us to continue bringing you inspiring stories. If you felt moved and found value in Nia's story, don't forget to hit the like button, share this video with your friends and family, and especially subscribe to our channel so you don't miss our next meaningful journeys. Thank you for listening. Remember, sometimes the greatest things come from the most humble places.